Fucking back pain is my middle name, man. Johnny Back Pain.
Fucking back pain will get you every time, man.
Fucking old man shit.
Charles
Yo,
Manson.
this is Focus with the Focus Podcast number 2 with my boy AC.
Do it.
God damn it, AC.
You know who says, goddammit?
Only old people will get that reference, OJ reference.
The greatest call to the cops ever.
Greatest call.
It's so arrogant. This guy's like, you know who this is, goddamn. It's AC. Didn't even have to say my whole name.
Hello, 911.
It's AC, goddammit. You know who this is.
Who?
AC. Yo, put me on phone with the people who matter. He ain't doing nothing even back in the car. He just hanging out.
Who's he?
AC, goddammit. You know my name. Air conditioning all up in my car.
Oh. Well, we're just going to go straight to the topic of the day is legalize it. Ontario has ruled to legalize sale of marijuana July 1st, 2018 in 40 stores, and in 2019 150 stores. What do you think about this, AC?
I think, as usual, the Canadian government hasn't planned this out well, and they're just thinking about their little crony friends who are going to control this market. 40 stores for all of Ontario. Not for Toronto.
Yeah, I think it's 4 cities. I think it's Kitchener, Guelph, Toronto, and T-Bay, Thunder Bay.
Thunder Bay. They got recognized.
Yeah, exactly.
No,
It must be demand or something. Who has the most?
There's a lot of potheads on Thunder Bay. Like, fuck you. Hey, see? We rocking out over here. You probably are. But 40 stores. You had 2 years to plan this out. And that's your plan. And you're going to charge $10 a gram. And you're going to say that's going to kill the black market. Which anyone who actually knows the black market knows that $2.80 an ounce is what the government's going to charge you. Is ridiculous, more than double what you should be paying. So don't tell me it's not a cash grab. They're trying to make this out to be like it's some kind of humanitarian effort. It's an effort for the same people who got rich when it was illegal to get even richer when it's legal.
Those are the investors we're talking about, is people who are still technically put people away for this crime and still serving time. You know?
Yeah, like Fantino himself invested in Aurora in a heavy-duty executive job. He used to put people in jail for marijuana. Now he's going to make money off marijuana. How could morally, I don't know how you could come to grips with it yourself. I guess money is morals these days.
I guess if you don't have them to begin with, then fuck them.
Fuck them. Capital gains.
Fuck them. Capital gains.
They gaining? Capital.
Capitalize on it. We got a term for the day is capital gains. We're just going to start our own investment bureau and call it capital
fund.
Gains.
And I'm just going to write gains in capital letters. So you invest with me, you're literally investing with capital gains. Yeah, you ain't going to gain shit, but I'm going to get rich.
So is this going to change anything at all? Is this going to do anything whatsoever?
Well, the government's going to, it's a cash cow for sure. They're trying to come out and say they're not trying to profit off this, that they're really going to put the money towards the community. But that's going to be tremendous profit because the average person will go to the LCBO version of weed instead of their local dealer who the government used to profit off putting in jail.
Oh, yeah. Now they're going to have laws to back that up, too. What are the laws to back them up?
There's going to be stricter penalties for selling it yourself and growing it yourself. So as far as the whole idea that we don't want to imprison people, no. If you're going for their profit, they'll imprison you. They're not going to imprison you for just being a simple smoker, which was always wrong to begin with for any drug, not just marijuana. Like putting a cokehead in jail or a heroin addict in jail does not help society one little bit. So I guess that's kind of something for the greater good, that the average pothead won't have some criminal record and end up in jail or end up not being able to get a job they want.
Oh, which is majority of the prisons, especially our good neighbors down south. They most of the drug charges are related all directly to weed.
Even here in Canada, I think I read
Canada.
it's something like 83% of drug charges are marijuana charges. So if you think of any police budget that you've ever read, like Toronto's, which is $1 billion, how much of it's going to the drug squad? 80% of that money is going for people smoking or producing marijuana.
Oh, not only that, you have the court system, you have the juvenile system, you have all that.
Oh yeah, you have the police, the COs, the lawyers, the judges. There's just a myriad of people profiting off the drug war. So I'm glad we're getting rid of one small aspect, the marijuana aspect of the drug war in Canada. I'm hoping it will be a springboard to eventually all drugs being legalized or somehow, because half of the problem is the illegality of it makes these drugs so expensive, makes addiction so expensive, so we can't even help people because their whole lives are towards that. But marijuana was never about that. This is just a money grab, pure and simple, because they see public perception has finally come around on marijuana, and now they're going for it. But the funny thing is, you heard Doug Ford. He wants to change the plan in Ontario. He wants to privatize it and allow the dispensaries to do their thing. Because all these dispensaries right now, which are illegal, the government's going to close them down.
Yeah.
Once this comes in July, your local, whoever you guys are going to or whatever, they're done. They're done, and they're gonna be facing $200,000 fines. They're just gonna make it so unfavorable, not worth to do, and shut them down.
Even though they've been collecting taxes for them legally.
They've been collecting taxes, and like everyone's in it for the money.
Yeah.
Let's be real about it. The government's in it for the money. The dispensaries, they often cry the same thing, like, we're here to help sick people. Yes, sure, I believe it. While making tremendous profit.
Well, I think that's how you convince the people who are on the fence about, oh, it's illegal. Like, that's their only their rebuttal against it. But now you can sway it by saying, oh, it's a medical thing, right?
Yeah.
So people can feel at ease. They're like, well, if it's medical, then I have no problem with it whatsoever.
It's so ridiculous.
It's like almost you don't want to be that. I'm an outcast of society because I'm saying that something that is agreeing with something that's illegal.
Yeah, I'm glad they're legalizing in a way. I just think the way they're going about it has been way more confusion than it needs to be. It's a plant, so you could just free it like any plant.
I think that's the craziest thing about it, and I think that's what is the toughest to get a hold of because it is just a plant. And it's like once you let it out of the bag, then
anyone could grow it.
It's too late. Yeah.
Anyone should be allowed to grow it, though. Because let's be real, there's not people like the kids. It's the ultimate weak argument they have for anything. Think of the kids.
What about the children?
The kids are gonna. If you grow marijuana, the kids are gonna break in your house and steal it. Differently, kids were doing it when it was illegal. So the kids who want to do it will find a way regardless. But if you educate kids about things, they know.
Yeah.
It's just like kids can have access to glue too. Believe me, they all have access. They could be sniffing this stuff every day. But parents tell them, sniffing glue, give you brain cell problems, all this stuff. And keep it real with them. We just need to keep it real with our children.
They're just bored. They've already had weed and they're bored of it and they're moving on to like hand sanitizer and Tide Pods. They're bored of your shit, man. They're bored of even I've heard a lot of people younger than me saying, "Oh, most people don't smoke joints anymore. It's just old and barbaric and hobo-ish, really. And we're the last of the dying breed." Well, I fit right into that category, so I'm okay with it. But it's I think with this legalization it's gonna be the idea of the pot smoker and the weed smoker is gonna change from smelly hippie, baggy pants type of person into anybody. Corporate elite person,
like someone who drinks alcohol.
Yeah, and they're just gonna have like fancy pens. And they're gonna market it all that.
And you literally see why you were brainwashed.
Just why they did 200 years ago. Look, if you look at advertising for marijuana, coke, methamphetamines, all this stuff that was legal in the 20s, the advertising, it's like Mama's Little Helper, and it's all gearing towards the average household person. And now it's gonna be, when they advertise the marijuana, I think they're gonna retract back from their demonization of how it is. But so if you're coming out, if the government's coming out and saying, okay, it's a safe thing, it's medical, how could you say it's a damaging thing to children?
It's I think they on the developing brain they've proven it kind of is, but there's a lot of things that
Not 100%. You know what I mean?
No, it doesn't make you. It doesn't make you.
All the variables with it, I think, is okay. Was the kid left behind? Was the kid, what environment did the kid grow up in?
Well, when I grew up, it was easy to get weed.
Yeah.
And we were from poor areas, so
yeah.
It was like everyone was smoking weed. All the kids. I actually think today less kids smoke weed.
But they do more drugs. They do
harder
drugs.
They do harder drugs.
Yeah.
You should want your kids on weed. I'll tell you the truth. If you're a parent and all your kid ever did was smoke weed in their teen years, you did a good job.
Because weed is super easy to get, period, already for kids. Kids have no problem getting weed whatsoever now.
No, if they want it, they're going to get. That's why the illegality of it
is ridiculous.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Like if a kid in high school wants weed today, he'll get it when it's illegal. If he wants it in July, come the new school year, he'll get it too.
For reality, I think it's for the old fucks. It's for the old fucks to say, oh, okay, and then, oh, we're keeping the children safe, and because it's the people.
But you know what the funny thing is? If you sit down with the old fucks and get them a little bit tipsy, they'll tell you stories when they were 14 and drank a bunch of vodka and girls and this and that, and you're like, hey, how come it's okay for you? You think your method was okay? Teens being teens. When you're in high school, there's that, you know?
Because it's your mind of youth passing. It's not like the time.
Like, what age do you become, though, where you look at those kids partying in high school, drinking, and you say, I hate them. They need to be saved.
When you can't do it anymore.
Yeah, I think that's when it happens.
When you can't party that good anymore. Yeah. I think it's when you start getting on the losing streak of partying.
You just can't. You wake up the next morning, you're like, never again.
Everybody else needs to change.
Yes. These kids don't know the future.
I'm Reverend Change.
But you forgot when you were a kid
that you fucked up.
You loved it.
Large.
And if you didn't do it, and there's adults I've met who didn't do it, in my experience, they're 10 times more likely as adults to go on some crazy binge of either drinking, sex, or whatever, because they never experienced it as a kid like they should have and got it out of their system and been like, okay, now I'm older and I can, focus more on other things. When you're young, you're supposed to be a little rambunctious and have some fun. And this comes as a father, I'll say this. I don't want my kids doing hard drugs whatsoever, but I expect them to be, totally clean up to 18 years old. They might have a drink when I'm not around or smoke a joint when I'm not around. I just hope they'll be safe and responsible and understand there's consequences in where they are and who they're with. And that's what I'll talk to them more about. Make a good decision,
Yeah.
Make a good decision who you're with and what you do and know what you're doing.
It's that old, I think it was a Stanhope bit. He said, who better than to fucking do drugs as young kids because your body bounces back and you got nothing to do. You have like zero fucking responsibilities. And then you can figure it out if you like it or not. You're just like, hey, I'm done. Okay, I move on.
And if you have someone responsible who's looking out for you, who actually you could be honest with. The problem is a lot of parents think they're doing a good job when you're just scaring your kids into never telling you anything.
Yeah.
And then you just don't even know what they're doing.
Well, my dad was like,
they're
these
under
are all
illusions.
the things that I did. And I almost killed myself doing all these things. I'm like, okay, I'm not interested in that.
You just be real with them.
I'm not interested in that.
Be real with them, man. You'd be surprised. Most kids are smart.
Yeah.
And they see the pitfalls if you just real with them. If you make it some sacred, secret thing, they actually want to know. They want to know, why are they hiding this from me?
I think if anything's a taboo, I think if anything's tabooish, then they're like, why? What? It's just the natural. It's just the natural growth of a human mind and a young mind. It's just like,
that's why I wonder
about
churches and stuff. Do they do it on purpose? They know if they make sex some horrible taboo thing, that it becomes like even more powerful.
Yeah.
It becomes, you've just quantified the power of sex. Sex is already one of the driving forces of nature, but you make it so you're not allowed to think about it and you think it's bad. You just brainwash people in such a different way.
But who runs that
control? Do you think religion works without taking sex away from people? I don't think so. You
No.
don't see any. What?
No.
Name the best religions in the world, and most of them have some way to control sex.
Yeah,
Why? Because you can't control a man without controlling that thought.
exactly.
That shit will bring them. If someone else preaches some other shit to them and it don't involve sex, they're gonna be like, "Oh, I'll go to the religion that has some weird rules about it."
Well, that is control right there. It's like, because it's mind control. It's what you're thinking, and it's they know through these years. That's why they hammer you at these young years. It's like you take aside most teenage boys, and all they're thinking about is trying to get some pussy.
Yeah.
And it's just like, you know that, because every guy goes through that in his mind. So if you make it shameful and, like, you know, put a shame tat, especially more young girls, like they shame young girls.
Shame. Girls get it in a different way.
Yeah.
Guys get shamed if they don't get laid.
Yeah.
Girls get shamed if they do get laid. And it's way easier for them to get laid. Damn, it must be good to be a girl, except we fucked it up for them by being like, nah, now you're a hoe.
Well, who runs the fucking underground prostitution game? The church.
They're involved in so much.
So much scandalous shit.
I just don't know how someone could, with a logical mind, could see the history of them and say, yeah, but it's different now, so I'm going to be part of this.
You can't even say now, because it was just, even 10 years ago? That was a huge thing with all the Cardinals, where they blatantly, okay, they're fucking little boys and shit like that. It was all open out in the press and everything, and they're like, oh, we are just going to move them all to South America and have them move in with the Nazis. They'll stay there, and don't worry about them. We have a new pope now.
It's okay.
It's okay.
But I know a lot of religious people. I talk to them, and they accept those truths.
Closer. Get that.
They accept those truths about Nazis and the religion destroying whole cultures.
Yeah.
But they say, but still it's real, and like it's different now. And I'm like, how could you accept, like, we've killed 100 million people, but now we're good, so I'm part of it. It's just such a weird concept to me that you could rationalize that.
Well, here's facts. Like, here are the facts. Like, Project Paperclip, right? You look at something that's an actual fact, where NASA was the development of rockets and missiles were actually, they had Nazi scientists. They brought over Nazi scientists to help them.
They were the best scientists in the world, among the best.
So it's like, it didn't die. It just changed forms. And yeah, we can go into different holes, but we won't. We won't go there.
There's always something. We started at what? Legalization?
Yeah, if we came around to this.
To religion?
Yeah.
It would always go somewhere.
Yeah, but should we take a break?
Yeah, give like a couple of minutes, bro.
All right. After this, folks.
"15 years been in hibernation. Wake and bake, got high with the whole nation. Nation, it's now safe to fly a family on a Disney vacation. The terrace vacated. Saudi Arabia covered it up like child molestation. Vatican priest displacement. Crackhead mayor reinstatement. Murderous cop paid vacations. The bank bailout repayment. Globalized disaster. Human trafficker. Slave labor ambassador. The bastard youth massacre. Trying not to be brainwashed by these idealists, just a realist, being labeled the conspiracy theorists. Scream dreams, cream preaching and begging, pyramids screams. Fools fooled by gold, believing everything they preach, and feeling gracious while making these high interest payments, investments in a nation of globalized enslavement. Ain't it great to live in such a wondrous world, filled with so much ignorance and hatred, civilized obedience and enslavement? Get some of the good life and keep making those payments, using the poor nations for globalization, slave labor payments for affordable arrangements.
I've opened up my eyes to see the world around me. open up my mind in a language that surrounds me. I've opened up my eyes to see the world around. I've opened up my mind to the language that surrounds.
Bruce Willis said it was a controlled demolition. Numerous cancerous witnesses having a reminiscent at Building 7 in the middle of the night. Sam Jackson was building all the hype, wiping out every witness in sight. The only thing that happened was we lost all our rights. And deviled eyes revealed in modern times, divided into profits, the rhythms of our minds, the purchase of acid, recorded cassettes of surface crimes, scorched demolition, ashes no more, evidence to file, documented catastrophe, glad to be living in an action scene, and all those Hollywood movies made a believer out of me. What happened to Building 7? Oh my gosh, Wally B. An action movie on 911 is what we collectively achieve to see. So pack up your evidence, your rights, and your conscience. The riot police been set for a state of nonsense. Order out of chaos.
Open up my eyes. Open up my eyes to see the world around. I've opened up my mind to the language that surrounds me. I've opened up my eyes to see the world around me. I've opened up my mind to the language that surrounds me. The language that surrounds.
Years of stinking, toiling, polluting, lobbyists pay billions to hold back alternative energy solutions. Evidence disputed into public amusement. The news is the source of this manipulative movement. Shades of character, cascades of time. The monument of skyscrapers, the caretakers of our mind. Hordes of terrible, unspeakable crimes. And that's why the politicians speak to you at prime time.
The language that surrounds.
Check.
How's that space case?
Space case. I'll have some space cakes, please.
How's disgrace taste?
I'm the disgrace face with some space cakes. Make some space, please.
Because I'm a space ace.
I'm gonna get the most illest apartment in Toronto and not get a good bed. That's my 3-year plan. And I've just finished my 3-year contract of stupidity. My 3-year contract is null and expired now, so I have a new avenue of stupidity to renew with.
Boom. Now you can get a nice bed and just live outdoors.
Yeah, man. Be
Like you won't have a place, but you'll have the sickest bed. People pass by and be like, yo, whose bed is that? Pretty fucking sick.
dude, you remember the blackout in 2003?
Hell yeah.
It was so hot. I lived on a top floor, and it was so hot, so I dragged my mattress out onto the flat roof like this one. And it was one of the best sleeps, but it was also one of the worst getting up. It's like fucking dew everywhere. Did I piss myself? Did I sweat and piss myself?
Probably a little bit of both.
Bro, probably all of the
Probably
above.
them little chills on your nipples fucking got you fucking stimulated too. Probably had some funky dreams. Maybe
like,
it's better to dream
ooh.
like that. You're dreaming out in the wilderness.
Maybe it's better to have a mattress and just throw it out in the fucking backyard and sleep
Yeah,
out
and
there.
sleep in the backyard.
Oh.
And then when you wake up with a bleeding asshole, you're just like, oh, I was asking for it. So
Yo, it's the natural element.
it's a risky take to be a man in a man's world.
I'm a wild man.
I'm a conqueror. I go out there and do things. I sleep in bushes.
Get fucked in the ass while I'm dreaming.
But that dream, straight great. Never forget, never forget.
Where the fuck were we? I don't know where we were. Okay, so Eddies, fast Eddies, edibles, they're going to all go down once this legalization happens.
Yeah, it's not going to be legal to sell edibles. Like all these companies who've made edibles, and you go to dispensary and they're like packaged professionally, but it's just some dude at some place. They're not actually a real company. Most of them, because the only places it's legal is like Colorado. Some American places can produce that stuff, but we have no legislation, regulations for the amounts, for how they're gonna check to make sure everything's legit. What they're saying is on the package is actually on the package. So it's a whole nother bag of worms, and they haven't even really thought much of it through yet. It's not even involved in the original legislation.
What is it? What was the law that passed a few years ago for edibles in Ontario?
I have no idea.
I thought there was one.
So if you take them, get baked, kid.
I think it was something on the lines of it was medicinal or something. Then you could.
I know that they used to, if you got caught with them, they would weigh the edible as the whole edible
That's ridiculous.
for what they charged you with. Imagine that. America did that too. So like they catch you with a pot brownie, and they'd weigh the whole brownie. The whole damn brownie weighs 1.5 pounds. So they're acting like you had 1.5 pounds of fucking cash.
That's insanity, inflation.
You know, the cops are always inflating, just like any
Yeah.
bust they do. They break it down to the bare minimum. Like if I sold this in joints, if I sold this 85 pounds in joints, first of all, it would take you 17 years.
It's a lot of labor.
It's a lot of joints, man.
That's a lot of rolling.
You better just have Woodstock outside your house every other fucking day to move that many individual joints.
Or a few roadies just rolling joints for you.
So they'll say that each $10 joint. So they'll say a pound is worth like, quadruple, because you could sell it in small amounts. That's how any business works. When you buy in quantity, you save money.
Well, that's what when I worked the news, that's how they spun it, because all your viewers are old fucks. And it's the same who they're trying to appease for legalization. Like, we don't really need the legalization because everybody smokes it basically anyways.
You
and
could
it's
just
easy
decriminalize
to get
it.
anyways. Yeah, exactly.
You could just decriminalize it and leave it in the open market. The problem is the excuse they use is what they want is money. But the excuse they use is the kids. It's literally think about the children. But this shit's been out there since the beginning. So it's like the children already knew.
Well, yeah.
I was young once. You were young once. In the 60s, they were doing this shit.
I think it's their different approach to the whole war on drugs still, because they just had to take a different approach where it's so asinine to say, if you smoke this shit, you're going to go out and stab a bunch of people.
Oh, but that used to be
Like,
the really old school
yeah.
way of saying it. But
Yeah.
yeah, that shit got played down basically by the hippie era. Because hippies were basically some of the most non-violent people out there, and they were smoking all the goddamn weed.
Yeah, you couldn't really prove it to cause. And then it was the whole, it's going to rot your brain completely. And that didn't phase out.
Everything kills your brain cells, though. If you study anything, like sneezing kills your brain cells, beer kills your brain cells.
But now
you got a lot of brain cells. You're not going to go brain dead from a few joints.
I think the new approach of it is just it's gonna cloud your judgment. But I think it's the opposite, where it makes you question every authority or everything that you're in. You're in the system.
And that's
I think the realization of weed, it makes you look outside of the box and say, hey, none of this shit's important. I don't need to work a job. I don't need to fucking do, well, you do, but you don't. No, but it's like I don't need to work for a
You don't
company.
need to conform to the system.
Or I can do something that I enjoy, my hobby, and turn it into a career or something.
It promotes free thinking.
Yeah.
So you start thinking about this system and think, why am I so sure that this is the only way to do it? And that's what drugs do. Period. For a lot of people, they
Make you see outside of the box.
Make you see outside. And the only one that I feel doesn't really make you see outside is the one that they do sell and is legal everywhere. Alcohol makes you kind of just happy.
See inside.
I
think it brings out everything that you're hiding inside.
So it's like they allow that one because you're not seeing drunks being the most introspective people when they're super tanked. Now, when they're a little tipsy, you can be actually really introspective. But
There's a few
when
bar.
you're super drunk,
There's
you're
a few
just
bar
like,
napkin
"Ah."
ideas. Yeah, once you get past a certain point, it's
You're
just
just
like.
retarded. Weed doesn't get you to that point. That's the problem. You can smoke it all day and just be thinking.
I think alcohol in its like what it was made for intentionally to start with was like, well, it's like it's just gathering. You know, it's like celebrating a good time. It's how you use it. I
Getting
think
buzzed, bro.
it's getting buzzed.
Your animals like to get buzzed.
Oh yeah, they like to do it together.
Dolphins, I seen this thing that dolphins swim by these little poisonous fish, and they'll just brush on them so the poison goes out in a little dose, and then they all swim by it because a little dose makes them high.
Because their life is boring as fuck.
Because
They're just like
'cause
swimming
being
all
high
day.
feels nice. They've lied to us.
Yeah.
And most highs, actually, the reason people like drugs is because a high is nice.
Well, coffee, and that's why stimulants are so prevalent, because stimulants are just like cheap little highs, constant little highs, quick little
and
highs.
I agree with people who say becoming addicted to a stimulant as your form of happiness is negative for your life. But I
Yeah.
don't agree with that. If you're going to do it once in a while, who am I to tell a grown adult who says, every year at New Year's I sniff 5 lines? Good for you, bro. I don't know.
I think
Like, it's your life.
I think if it comes along, if it's along the ride with something that's positive, say like you're all going out to celebrate something and you're getting
you have a
wasted,
good
that's
time.
fine. That's a good time. I think that's great, and it doesn't harm you that much. But I think it's the isolated when you mix isolation with all those sedatives, then that gets you into.
Or you mix trauma, someone who already
Yeah.
has some mental
Yeah.
trauma, and then they get a
Yeah.
hold of drugs. And it's like drugs are not the root cause of most people who are addicts. It's some kind of trauma that sent them towards drugs.
I think that's why they call it a vice, because it keeps you in that emotion or that state.
Yeah.
Like if you get successful and you're big and you party, you want to keep that feeling up there. So that's what the vices do.
And then
It keeps you until you fall off.
you feel
Same thing the other way. If you're down, you want to escape those realities, and these vices are helping you escape those realities. So you gotta constantly stay on those vices and
But it's
re-up
like
those vices every time.
Most people I find who become big addicts weren't happy people. Do you know what I mean? It's not like you see the guy who's like, my life's great. Now I did coke once. Now I'm just on this street corner sucking cock for coke. That story's mostly bullshit.
Yeah.
It happens to people who have, even successful people who have some mental, like if you think of the most successful people who became huge drug addicts or already were, the Kurt Cobains or the whoever, they had trauma way before that success.
Bird trying to get some airtime. Fuck you.
You know what I mean? They had lots of trauma way before their success. And I think it just gives them access. And now they have access and money, and it becomes, you get lost in that. But
Or,
most successful people, like if you look
becomes
at
available to you or whatever too.
it's like these what are they calling it? The opioid crisis? 'Cause
Yeah.
Whenever it's a crisis, it means the same thing. A lot of white people are getting addicted and dying. That's a crisis.
It's a crisis.
You know what I mean? If it's like black kids having AIDS, it's like, fuck, we're trying. We're trying.
It's statistics.
It's in the bottom of the legislation. We're gonna donate.
If it's minority, it's statistics. If it's white people,
It's
epidemic.
it's an epidemic, and the problem is a lot of these. With the mental health issues we're seeing it's hitting middle class families, these kids with autism or these kids with ADD or these kids with mental health issues, and then they're getting hold of like the opioids, and it's just taking.
Well, that's what we were saying about
to that level.
Availability of drugs for kids. It's like they're already well past the weed, so most of these kids are into hard drugs.
Yeah, that's the one you
and
gotta
they're
worry
growing
about.
up. They are all growing up, and they're all there's a large percentage addicted to opioids and shit like that.
And it's like, what's the reason though? Why is it all of a sudden? Is it true if you've taken? Because I've taken opioids. I'm sure you've probably taken opioids. I didn't take them for fun. I actually had the hernia operation.
For pain, yeah.
Yes, and I took them. And after I was done with my prescription, I didn't feel like, bro, I need more. I think you were with me once. I remember we watched the Olympic hockey game.
Yeah.
Not this Olympics, the one before when it was actually the pros, like 4 years ago.
Yeah.
And I was all fucked up.
Oh,
on
you were
that
flying,
shit.
yeah.
But it wasn't like when the dose, they gave me like 30 pills. When the dose was done, I was done.
Yeah.
And is it true that most people are like me, or is it a lot of people just do it and when their dose is done, they want more?
I think it's the state you're in too. Like, if you're in a like say surgery or something, most of the time, most people have somebody there to help them out, look for, get them through it. So if you're hooked on opioids and you come off it and your life still sucks, I'm probably gonna get back on the mopies.
Because they were making you feel good.
Yeah, because you're just like, that's you come out of it.
It's something that happened before, right? It usually not just like my life's perfect,
Yeah.
and then I broke my leg and took opioids, and now I'm fucking
Yeah.
down $8 million or whatever. Not exaggerating, but
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying. That's the story we always hear that people are scared of. Like, it could happen to my
It's
son
mental
because
trauma.
anyone who
There's
does
some
it.
mental trauma tied to it for an addiction, I think. And you come out of it and I just healed my injury, so I'm good. I'm not going to have it. Most people aren't going to get hooked to it.
We should have something for the mental trauma way before the opioids. Like, more people need
Yeah,
to
we
be
should be
prescribed a
working on-
therapist than prescribed an opioid.
Yeah. And it so quickly goes to the drug prescription right away. And the doctors don't really analyze you enough before they prescribe you. They're like, oh, maybe you should change your diet. Maybe you should go join a group, hang out with people more, do other stuff like that. And the drug should be your last option. But usually it's the first option, right?
Oh, you can't sleep? Here's a pill. Oh, you can't eat? Here's a pill. Oh, you're thinking of this? You have anxiety? You have this? You have that? You can't see good? Your skin, anything, it's a pill.
The best is the samples.
Yeah, shampoo. And these
Because they'll
doctors
give you the samples.
Oh, my old doctor.
They'll sample you up.
The biggest joke in town. You remember Howie?
Howie Mandel. The man can't tell.
He was the shampoo king. He'd be like, he'd open his cabinet and you'd just see shampoos, which are samples for normal people. But for us, it's shampoos.
In the hood, it's shampoos.
You want a shampoo?
Yeah.
The guy will always come up to you. Remember those stories like a drug dealer just opens his jacket? You want a shampoo? There's another story that they would throw on the drug war. Like, these guys just show up at your high school and they're trying to sell your kids coke. It never happened. Where was that guy?
No.
Man, maybe I would have bought some if he showed up, but he was never there.
No,
it was
that's
just
bullshit.
other kids selling weed.
Yeah. It was bullshit.
90%, 95% was weed. Once in a while, someone would have like acid or ecstasy, but really it was 90%, 95%, 98% weed.
Also, kids were getting in their own businesses, and they're like, we need that cut.
It's entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
If you think about it, a lot of drug dealers are just young entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
And it's like they're actually taking a stupid risk. They should be entrepreneuring with something else.
Yeah.
And that's the direction we should have took them instead of put them in jail and ruin their lives forever.
Because what are you going to get walking across town for a half quarter?
It's fun.
$5?
Yeah, the risk involved. Well, it depends.
$5?
It depends. Like, if you're getting a good deal, you can make okay money. The problem with these kids is they're usually not getting a good deal. And number two is easy money feels easier to spend. And I think that's why a lot of poor people stay poor. Because if they ever get money, it just feels like, I could spend it. You know what I mean? Quickly.
Smart not poor people.
Poor people ain't the smartest. Is why they're usually poor. If you're generationally poor, it's not your fault. But if you look back, it's usually, uneducated people.
String of no
which is not everyone's
education.
fault. There could be different reasons for why. But at the bottom line is, it's the truth.
Educate yourself,
At this day and age, you can. Finally, you actually can.
If only
Now,
there
but how
was
do you
some
teach
sort of
someone who
platform.
doesn't know how to do it, though? Do you know what I mean? For generations who's that's different. That's different. But as far as if you want to do it yourself and you have the ambition and the knowledge, it's easy to do.
Everything's at your literally at your fingertips now.
The real war is the class war more than the race war now.
Yeah.
The race war, we could hopefully get over in the next 8,000 years. But we're humans, so we're always going to have that weird animosity to people who are different. And I know everyone wants to kill that and act like we could be there, but it's always like, I don't know. It's like in our nature. Like what I always say the truest nature of humans is greed.
Yeah.
Greed. If
Yeah.
someone asks me what everyone wants to name these, amazing values we have. The truth is greed.
Somebody's always going to be greedy.
Not somebody, everybody.
Everybody,
me,
always.
you. Everyone wants more than they really need. If you were offered it, you would take it. You know what I mean? If you were saying, oh, I can have the nicest car, the nicest house, and all this shit you don't really need. Most people, there's a few altruistic people who are close, but still everyone's greedy in some way. They want something for themselves or the people around them, or more than they actually need.
Even people who want to help, they're like, oh, it makes me feel so special to help that person.
Yeah,
You're selfish.
You want that?
You're
You want
looking
that
out
feeling.
for your needs. You're looking out for your own, to make yourself feel good,
Well,
man.
that's what it is. It's like we openly know we're voting for people who are going to send people to kill other people. But we justify it. We rationalize it because we have a lifestyle that's way better than the people who will be fighting in another country dying.
Like
You know what I mean?
Syria coming up.
Yeah, like Syria, if we get involved or the Americans involved, it's like we can openly justify it here because we're so greedy. We don't realize how good we have it. And we think it's okay that other people don't, and we can go fight there.
We're
crazy.
nitpicking about legalizing weed, and Syria's gonna be probably lit up in a couple months.
Yeah. And
Like,
Russia on one side, America on the other side.
on both
Pulling
sides.
strings.
And it's like, isn't it one of the last like Christian countries in the Middle East?
It's like Assad is from, I should look it up. He's from a small minority group, but they're I don't think they're Christians. Let me look up this guy's.
No, but it's like it's one of the least religious countries in the Middle East. I know that. But it's gonna be a shitstorm. They're all rah-rahing the drums of war here with this these chemical attacks. These apparent.
Alawites. They're considered Alawites, which is like a small sect, but they're from Shia. They're Shia Islam, which is like the Iranians, which the Iranians, are
The
involved
Iranian
there.
government, pretty much.
So many people are involved there.
Yeah. Oh, it's so
It's
many puppet
ugly.
strings.
It's ugly, and that's, and we all know this. It's open knowledge to us here in the West, but we don't mind our governments getting involved. How can we rationalize it? Do you know what I mean? It's amazing to me how we can rationalize how easy our lives are, and that we're okay with these things happening. Why get involved? It's money. It's
Well, I
money.
was thinking the same thing because it's the exact same rationalization that they're selling to the public of the chemical weapons. When they are convincing everybody to go to war with Iraq and drumming those drums, they're saying they didn't even
Chemicals.
have any video or anything. They just had like pictures of satellites, and it could have been
trucks.
it could have been trucks. Like
Those are
could
my
have been
boys
like,
with the chemicals.
they're like the chemicals. The weapons are coming.
I heard the Chemical Brothers did a show in Baghdad.
They fucking serenaded everybody. But it's
Serenade.
true, right? But I actually remember
It's
there
easy to
was-
make people
But
believe.
there was lots of protests all over the place. I remember lots. I went to one in Toronto here actually. But these same war drums are coming now, and nobody's making a peep out of anything.
They're like, Syria's a
It's
mess.
just
We got to
like-
get involved.
Yeah.
But I don't know, like, is intervention the way to do things?
No.
Like, what is the main benefits that we're aiming for?
There's something that they need there. There's something.
Like, the one thing I'll say,
It's just a strategic place to land. That's what it is.
like
It's a-
Trump won with the bullshit because he's full of shit, obviously. But the one thing about looking within, whatever you wanted to call it, MAGA, making America great, is pretty stupid slogan.
Oh,
but the
retarded.
idea of looking within and actually saying we don't need to go to foreign and focus on ourselves, I don't think is the worst idea in the world.
No, if he says, fuck this shit, we ain't going in Syria,
And let's
Then
not
he's-
spend $700 billion a year on
Then
military.
he's stopping-
Let's cut it.
then he's stopping like a 20-year train.
But why do we accept that we need to spend this money on military? Why do we accept, like, we think we're so enlightened? We're the dumbest fuckers out there.
And we, as
All these species are smarter than us.
Well, we
we
as-
just think we're on the
Yeah.
top, bro. That's the funniest part.
Yeah.
We think we're on the top. We're not on the top.
that's our arrogance.
We're not on the, nature's on the top
Yeah.
and wipe us out in a second one day.
Oh yeah, scratch us off their balls.
Like all the fucking shit we learned that we think we're big shots, but we're just killing our own planet and killing our own shit.
We're choking ourselves out. Kind of like, you ever look at ant colonies? How they burrow all the
So far that eventually there's
so
no
far.
air,
No, and then they just, because they work so much within that confined area,
they
they
die.
build up
The
carbon
carbon
monoxide,
dioxide,
and
and
they
they all
kill
die.
each other, kill the whole colony out. Yeah, that's us. We're doing it.
Because we're
Sid-
greedy to the end.
Yeah.
To the end. And we try to rationalize our greed as, oh, it's not me doing it, it's the government. But they're doing it in order for you to live this lifestyle that you're addicted to. Because if you saw how the other half lives, if you were unfortunate enough to be born into one of these countries, you would actually experience what it's really like to be on the rough end of this thing.
Oh, the 70%, not the half.
You know what I'm
It's
saying?
like
Exactly.
more,
If
yeah.
you were in Africa or the
Yeah.
Middle East, you would experience what it's like.
Southeast Asia,
And there's no escape. If you're in India, if you're dirt poor in
South
any of these places,
America,
you would really know.
even our countries up in the territories.
But they depend that we're addicted to this lifestyle.
Oh yeah,
So you know what I mean? We can't just quit it.
that's the allure. It's like you can't let it go. That's all of our own individual greed of this lifestyle.
Well, we also
That we all live
most
like
people that I know who wake up, and even good people. I know good people, and they wake up and they want things. Everyone wants them. If you talk to people, they always want some object.
But that's the drive. That's what gives you drive to. If everything was even playing field, then you're not gonna have any drive to do anything. You're just gonna be like, whatever.
But it's like, why a thing? You understand? Like,
No,
why,
not a
why-
thing, but a goal. You
like,
can have
like
a goal.
goal's
You can have
great.
goals.
Survival, a nice place to live. All that shit's great. But we're taught from a young age that it's beyond that. That it's like you gotta have the best sports car, the best phone, the best like consume beyond your means, consume beyond any expectation. Like that's all we're taught to do.
Or you're taught the other way, where you're taught to be conservative. You're taught to be just go for the lawyer job or go for the business
Well, most
job.
people be that
Stay in the middle of the
worker bee.
lane.
Worker bee.
Just
Don't rock the boat.
don't rock the boat. You know
Don't think outside the box.
which is almost
Don't
more.
worry
just,
about the people who got fuck all. Don't try to even out nothing.
I think it would be. It's more of a benefit, from my perspective. It's more of a beneficial life to just like do it blindly yourself. And if you crash, you crash, and then
For
you
sure.
learn, and then
I
you
think
know what you like
We're,
and not
we're
don't
an
like.
amazing time.
You experienced it.
We're an
You-
amazing time.
Oh,
And I
yeah.
think that the most amazing time is going to be within the next 100 years when robots really start taking care of a lot of shit. We're going to find the true nature of man. Because when robots take most of the job, is man going to look at each other and say, hey, we got more time, we're going to help each other? Or are we going to look at each other and say, yo, all of us want most of it and you guys can fight for the scraps?
Put it on Fox.
You know what I mean? It's like with basic income, which I think is the answer to a lot of bullshit government bullshit. Like I love basic income. I think you know that about me. I think from the beginning it's a great idea. It just needs to be implemented right.
What was the town in Manitoba?
Yeah, and
It
they
did in the
basically eliminated
70s.
poverty. But you
Yeah.
also eliminate government programs. That's where people get lost because you're taking more individual responsibility is on the citizen because they're giving you the money directly. You understand what I mean?
I'm fine with that because I rarely use any services.
You're gonna make a good decision.
I rarely use
But
any
it's
of
going
the
to be up to
services.
citizens to help their fellow citizens make good decisions.
Yeah.
The thing is, there's always going to be poor. I think there's always dumb people. And most, like I just said earlier, most poor people, not all poor people, so don't fucking email me, poor people. There's a lot of you, so please don't email me.
Especially free email.
But a lot of poor people, if you're lifetime poor, you're probably fucking dumb.
Yeah.
Or you're just, like we talked about, the 70%. If you're born in a certain place, you never have access to shit.
You're fucked.
It's because generationally you got fucked along the way. Someone got fucked. You know what I mean? And they took that away from you, which sucks. But if you're in the West here and you're doing that, you're probably dumb.
Got all the opportunities.
You're probably dumb.
Yeah. There's avenues for everything here.
So no
in the
matter what we
West.
do with that, you can't stop dumb.
Yeah.
Because we're in the age of information and most people are still dumb.
Oh yeah.
And you can depend on that. Donald Trump depend on that. He won the fucking election on that. Just tell them what they want to hear. Most people just want to hear what they want to hear.
Freedom. Liberties.
You know what I mean? I'm going to make it great. I'm going to bring it back. I'm going to, you're going to have a way better lifestyle.
Just like you.
No one likes you when you're the underdog. So join
No.
me and I rise it up. That's the
They
message,
can
man.
smell bullshit. They want their bullshit up front.
Yeah, like Carlin said.
Carlin said that.
And he gives it to you right up front.
As he said, he goes, "Hi, I'm Bill, and I'm a scumbag.
Literally, they brought a billionaire who talked like he's a man of the people. You know,
Yeah.
like and people laughed it up. That's how
I'm Al
dumb
Gore.
people are.
I'm a family man.
And I know everyone in the West likes to make fun of Americans, but they're a typical Western country to me. It's like they're not the most dumb. Most Americans I meet are not the stupidest people in the world.
No.
But it's not like they're geniuses, most of them either.
No.
It's like most Canadians that I meet are not the stupidest people in the world, but they're not geniuses either. But we seem to think here we can make fun of Americans. Oh, damn.
We're pausing. Just pausing here.
Yeah, that was long distance, strong resistance.
Fuck that shit.
Whenever you don't know a long distance number, I suggest you don't answer that shit. Because that's Babu from wherever calling you about some bullshit.
Be like, hey,
why you calling me long distance to advertise?
I heard you want that services.
I don't support that shit. At least call me from next door. You don't give a
gotta
job
be
to someone in Toronto.
There's got to be a way to like crank call all these numbers back.
Yo, we
And
should be.
Yeah.
We should just be putting it on the air.
Yeah, we should just be like, hey, I heard you want my services. What services are those provided? Talking to you all day. I know you're lonely. I know you need someone to talk to. Somebody not yell at you all day and just.
Yo, I wonder their life must suck to do
Bro, that
job.
would suck to
I actually
do
feel
that
bad
shit.
for them. You calling people on a random, like, even I tell people sometimes you get those text scams. You know those text scams?
Yeah.
Like, yo, this and that. Go to this website and we'll hook you up with your taxes, whatever. I always message them like, yo, dude, this is some low level scam. If you want to get with the big dogs, I want to see if they're gonna call. You know, I'm like, you want to get with the big dogs? I'll put you on that high level scam. Get at me. Email me right here.
You're like the free agent. You're like the agent signer of
yeah. And
telemarketers.
I put an
You're
email out, and it's a fake email. And then if they answer me, which only one guy did, I told him, yo, if you sent that email, a fucking virus been sent to you that's about to wipe out your ass. Boom, I hope he was scared. The only thing I know about virus is the ones I catch my damn self.
You know what I'm saying?
But yo, it's like when they come at you with the lowest level scam and people get scammed. Like this woman I know, she called and she was like panicked because she told me some guy called her, said her internet was messed up and he could do a diagnostic.
Oh, yeah.
She gave him access to her computer.
Oh, and they start moving your cursor
Yo,
around.
they started, she had full access.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, yo, why would you just believe the guy? And she's like 60 years old. She's like, well, I don't know. If he said there's a problem with the internet, there must be a problem with the internet.
Yo, that happened to me because I was trying to stream a basketball game.
Stream that
Cheap
porn,
motherfuckers won't fucking give any free shit. So
FBI warning, eh?
yeah, I didn't see
Pay
that.
$300.
I didn't see that warning.
Did
So
someone
that
email
comes
you?
up. It comes up and it says your computer's gonna
Oh,
explode.
yeah. Usually porn does that, bro.
Yeah. Oh, that happens all the time. For me.
Porn is like, yo, FBI gonna be contacting you, let you pay $3 billies. I'm like, damn, FBI running them $3 billion scams.
FBI is like watching
Anyone
a lot
who
of
sends
porn.
that $3 billies, honestly, you deserve to lose that money. I don't even feel bad for you because that's dumb.
You should never download porn.
That's why grifters and guys who rip people off always been existing, because there's just idiots out there.
Oh yeah, because there's people willing and nilling all the time, and if you can pull a scam, then good for you, man.
You know, the church just getting the donations ready. You know, you go to Vatican and they're living like you never could live. Never.
We'll give you back your virginity. Just
buy
pay
your way to
$39.95 a month.
God, man, God needs money, man.
Yo, he's always broke.
He owes them people. He's got bills, man.
Well, they
Think running the world is cheap.
wonder how much of a cut he gets for all the entry fees at the Vatican
That's a
and
lot of work, man.
all
That's a lot.
those,
A lot of fucking paperwork.
all that JC
It all
merch,
goes
you know,
with bureaucracy.
all
man.
that JC merch.
Yo, they got merch. That's how Catholics. How did they get around the idols? I should ask a Catholic. We gotta need a Catholic in here.
Merch, dude.
How did they get around not worshiping idols to have like, yo, I got a plate with Jesus on it?
Basically, religion was the first
That's my
entity
favorite, by the way.
to sell merch.
I like that some people, you go in their house and they have a plate. They don't eat on the plate.
Yeah.
They have it like displayed.
Yeah,
of Jesus on the plate. I'm like,
dude,
what the hell? Why would you put it on a plate if you're never gonna eat on it?
bro, religion sold
the rock
merch
star.
before there was even the shopping channel.
Oh, they were on that.
Before there was even
They
television.
knew.
Before there was
They
advertising.
knew.
They sold merch.
You gotta give them credit.
They came with books first.
They were smarter.
And guns. They're like, buy our books.
They were smarter
Yeah.
than the average person. So they just wowed you with their smarts and said Jesus will fucking get you smart.
Well, they gave books first. So they gave the story away first.
Oh, yeah.
So they gave you the story first.
And you gotta
for
learn
free.
Latin and shit.
It was basically like giving you the first episode on Netflix for
They
free.
basically told you, listen. They basically Tony Montana'd you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They came there and they said, "Hey, what are you guys doing over here?" And you're like, "Oh, you know, we worship nature." And we guess what? That all
That's gonna
stops
stop
now.
right now.
This guy Jesus, this fucking language. This is you now. You don't gotta work in no village. You don't gotta shoot no arrows. You're gonna learn the real ways of being subservient to me.
Jesus.
They were the Tony Montanas. They Tony
Yeah.
Montana the world.
They did.
And the world said, damn. Like generations later, imagine how those families feel. I always say that, like to Jenny's Dominican family. Like imagine how your ancestors would feel if they saw you now worshiping the God of the people who came there with guns
And slaughtered you.
and slaughtered you and forced this crap upon you. And then generations later, you're like the only people still believing in this shit.
It's like cheering for Scarface.
It's like, you know where Christianity is the quickest growing in the world?
In Africa.
Africa.
South of Africa.
Africa.
Yeah.
A place where they should not fucking like
No.
what Christianity's brought them.
Or
You know
is
what
the
I mean?
education the lowest probably?
The lowest, exactly. So you got the people who have
And
been
the
hurt
poorest-
the most.
the poorest
people who've been
countries-
hurt the most
Yeah.
by this
Religion's
empire,
running amok.
by this religion empire, are actually, and South America are actually the only places where, because in white countries, no one gives a damn no more. How many
Yeah.
religious people you actually know? Really religious people. I know people who say they're religious, but as far as really being righteous, following all the rules, going to church every time, there's very few I know.
Here's the weird thing about that too. And if it's even brought up with people, more people will gasp if you say you're totally like atheist, anti-religion, as opposed to people saying they're actually religious.
You know, a lot of people.
You know what I
lie, though.
mean?
I find a lot of people when you ask them, they say they are, but if you ask them when's the last time you actually went to church, they're like, I don't remember.
But they don't know why they're religious.
They just say
whatsoever.
they're a part of it.
They're just saying, "Oh, it's my culture. It's my."
It's a part of my
especially
family's
Italians.
identity.
Especially Italians.
It's my family's identity. To be
Religion
Catholic.
is an identity as an Italian.
You know, to me, as a
pretty
Jew,
much.
it's
Yeah.
like you're tied into it as the race. When you tell
Yeah.
someone you're a Jew, they think you're like, you're
Yeah.
fucking doing all the fucking muzzle tops and shit.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yo, most Jews I know, young ones, ain't even religious at all.
No.
You
There's
know?
no tie to it. So what's the point of holding the title?
It's just the cultural, you feel like my grandparents were.
Yeah.
So I want to represent what they were because they were good people, and
Yeah.
religion must be worth something because the people,
But
it gets tied in so personal. You don't think of all the horrific things the
Yeah,
church
yeah.
has done. Who you think of is your dad,
Yeah.
and your grandfather, and they were good guys, and they went to church and they got married in a church, so it can't be all bad, right?
Well, everybody that's
You don't
people
realize
that
your
did the
grandpa
slaughtering
and
were
everyone
somebody's
else,
dad or
someone was
grandpa.
brainwashed along the way,
Yeah.
and someone was involved in some fuckery along the way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just like when I think of all these Jews in my family going way back thousands of years of believing this stuff. It's a lot of pressure to be the one who says, hey, I know you guys followed this for 1,000 years, but I'm done with this whole
It's
fucking
kind of stupid.
this whole bullshit story you trying to sell me.
Well, that's me in Italy when I go to Italy and live in
And
Italy.
they're telling you, yo,
And-
Jesus made this mountain. And you're like, fuck you.
Fuck Jesus in this mountain, man. I said the mountain was made by the fountain.
I think actually, in a lot of ways, natives had it more right. That they were just worshiping nature. It's real.
One with nature.
It's a fact.
It's a fact.
And it's a beautiful thing. When you're out with it, you realize the world is small. Your problems are small. You know what I mean? And look what we have out here. And we lose sight of that. I think that's a root of a lot of humans' problems right now. We lose sight of it all. We live in cities. We're fucking information bombarding our brains. And we don't enjoy just the natural shit right in front of us ever.
Well, it depends where you, because like in the Italy I stay in the northern part, it's nature is part of everything.
Yeah, it's part of people's
and part
lives.
of religion, but they still have the influence of the I, the ego, the religion and it's still intertwined into that. But they respect nature as one, and knowing without treating nature properly, then your life is fucked. You know.
And how many people in cities that don't really see nature for years?
Not at all.
End? No. I used to go like that for years on end. I just like when I was in my early 20s, I just stayed in Toronto. I didn't travel much.
But there's a major difference between like older European cities and the post industrial area.
Oh yeah.
North American cities, you know what I mean? Like Toronto is a highway. Toronto is made for cars to just go through and
forget your
buildings.
You forget nature completely in this city.
This was a forest. Toronto was a thick, dense forest, just wall-to-wall forest right to the lake.
Bro, I live near the lake and I don't go there barely at all.
You forget it's a lake city.
You forget.
You're like, You're right here.
Stuck in the cement.
Yeah.
Stuck in the depression. That's why everyone's walking around depressed. The bills are $8,000 a month rent.
Oh, especially in the downtown core, the sky is disappearing. It's gone. It's like you don't see sunsets anymore. People
pretending to be happy.
Oh, on a big pile of garbage too. That city place it used to be a big pile of garbage. Do it. So, yeah.
Getting that ad lib in there.
We're going to take a break here on the Focus Podcast.
Tax currency, the tools of the old. Relax, proceed to the nearest threshold. Fract and slap the human race as a whole. Sold the souls to keep up with the Jones. World water wells while poisoning your home. Scientists label terrorists by the throne. Rivers, streams, treaties all void. Fluoride, paranoid, bottled and coined. Bad meat, going balls deep. Interrupt your speech and disturbing the peace. A piece of sheet stuck left in the sheets. Stuck in stupid supreme course of the meek. The iron sheet, the stronghold to defeat. Keeping up to date with the freak of the week. Paid handsomely, courts ignored, proceed. The CEO foes, rat race for no cheese. Drop another beat, freedom fighters locked to cease. And had the credits displays overseas. Women's history removed from 50 piece. Mark and Marie turned over for the seeds. And are thirsty for the greed, quantified by the need. Warrantless rages to keep up with the peace. Police brutality and abuse authority. And I reach the peak to face the concrete. Saving nothing when you're begging on your knees. Run, retreat is the face of defeat. Getting beat while you're bumping in your Jeep. Focus, fighting freedom every night of the week. Non-responsive mode? Well, who's responsible? I heard Nestle holding all the H2O. Well, it's time to murder some CEOs. So much finding crystals when I shine. You must have missed me. Malaysian Airlines. The news is clueless. Trendsetter for the time. I feel like an agent being led into the mines. Enslaved in cage, laying tracks in the mind. Mimed out the mic, throwing signs to the blind. Coming back to haunt you, I'm the ghost of these lies. Provoke, roach, stagecoach full of pride. Carcinogenic rhymes left frozen in time. Stifling advice from frightened cocaine eyes. A rose, I'm polite. Summer solstice night. Heading out of Venice on a red-eye flight. Set it in motion, sacrifice focus. Paying for the knowledge, paying for exposures. Aerial Ebola, smoking that doja. Whispers in the wind, a David Caress soldier. I barely slept. Met a Red Lobster. Joe Flaherty said they were imposters. Intelligence test, didn't realize it. I run around naked with a bulletproof vest. Parliament lawn, smoking that cron. Politically incorrect to piss you off. My sole interest is to sabotage this mirage. Living like a boss, berserk, ta-da. And I paint a billion Van Goghs on a bra. Dropping bombs like I was Von Braun. Me, Patrick, SpongeBob, and your mom on an all-expensive paid trip to Bikini Bottom with Saddam.
Slim dog.
Slim dog.
Yo,
We
good-
got to talk about the real. Explain to people what Slim Dog.
Yo, Slimmy?
Yeah, Slim Dog.
Slim McMasterson?
Just tell people about the Slim Dog demographics and like Slim
Oh.
Dog.
For sure, within every city, like 100,000 people or more, there's a dude known as Slim. Slim Dog, Slimmy, Slim McMasterson, Slims,
Doggy Dog.
Slims.
The dog.
Some fucking form of Slim Dog.
Or dog. Some variable. Some
Every fucking
variation.
town. If you had a consensus, everybody knows a Slim. Everyone knows a dog. And it goes past race. It ain't just black guys or white guys. Asian Slims and dogs.
I think we have
everything.
if you had like a rap name consensus all over the world, the biggest like John Doe would be Slim Dog.
Slim Dog.
That's what we're getting at.
Slim Dog.
Like Slim Dog is the
And there was a rapper named Slim Dog.
yeah.
You ever remember that guy? He's from New Orleans. He got killed.
Yeah.
Probably because he was mistaken for a different Slim Dog.
It's like shit.
If you got that name, you're going to have beef with all kinds of people you don't know. You just
Oh,
go to another
shit.
city, you're like, yo, yeah, tell your boy I'm from Cleveland. My name's Slim Dog. You're like, you Slim Dog? Yo, I've been looking for you.
Oh, you weren't supposed to kill Slim Dog. It was Slim's dog. It was Slim Dizzog. It's a variation. It can be very confusing, or it could be dog. There's too many variables of it.
And you think about it, two of the most famous rappers ever are Slim and Dog.
Slim and Dog. And you just use it together in a brilliant fashion of just exploding brilliancy.
I would like to talk to a few different Slim Dogs. Just
And
see what they think and why
just
why they rode that name.
What path they rode to get to the name Slim Dog?
Trial and error.
That's actually my hidden agenda behind me touring around the country is I want to get consensus forms of who is Slim and who is Dog and who
How many of these dudes
How
are
many-
Roman?
how many actually
How many of them you know, man?
probably all of them.
Yo, the average fucking salary is like $22,000 a year. Slim Dog.
It's like assistant manager of
It's like, yo,
custodial.
I'm still pressing fucking mixtape Slimmy.
Trust me, coming out next week.
Slim. The Chronicles of a Dog.
So they're gonna have delivery systems. That's gonna be crazy. That's gonna be mind blowing to some old people. Like, I can get this shit right to my door.
Boom. No one gotta leave home no more. Now you can get 800 pounds. They'll deliver you a fucking liposuction, bro. Deliver it right up your fucking ass.
Yeah, whatever you want to your home now.
Yo, anything, bro.
Well, what is there gonna be a restriction on how much you can buy at the store?
Yeah, it's an ounce.
An ounce.
An ounce, 28 grams. They don't want you having a party and have a pound and a half. Just great fucking crazy out here.
So what's an ounce gonna cost?
$280, $10 a gram.
Oh man.
Maybe they'll change that down the road, but as of right now, that's their plan.
Cause it's gonna be busy no matter what.
Oh yeah. I don't know why someone would pay $280 when on the street they'll probably get it for $120 or $140. But hey, it's up to you.
It's probably gonna be beneficial for people in the street to be like, hey.
Well, once you realize the product's not much different, you know, they're acting like, oh, it's grown in this special lab. I know guys who work in those places, and it's grown nicely. But truth is, some of their stuff is not as good as stuff you'll just get on the street.
So maybe that's not what it comes down to. Maybe it comes down to most people, they just want to feel themselves that they're being a good person.
Yeah.
So if
it's
they're
legal,
like
they go into
told-
the store.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They go into the store, and they feel like, yo, it's better that way.
So let's take it back 100 years ago. Say if you're living 100 years, not even like right before Prohibition, and alcohol was illegal. Would you not have fun going to like a speakeasy?
Hell yeah.
You know what I mean?
I'll be speaking mad easy.
But you probably wouldn't admit it. Like if you were just working regular 9 to 5, you're like, I didn't go there last night. I didn't.
And then once it became legal, you're like, yo, I'll go to my local bar. Speakeasy guy can go to straight up hell.
I'll speak real easy.
All these mobsters who got rich off Prohibition, they got cut out the legalization game. It's not like they suddenly profit off the legality. The government did. The government took control.
Yeah.
The government decided who can sell liquor, who can't. And that's that. That's what
And
they're
the
going to control.
quantity- And the quantity
With
too.
pot, they're going a step further. The government's literally no middleman. They're going to be the only ones in Ontario who you can buy legal pot from.